Welcome to Super Easy Recipes. Now I've been asked to do some super easy Chinese style stir-fried dishes. So I'll start with my favourite, which is sweet and sour chicken. Now stir-fry is very easy and above all quick technique, but to get the Chinese flavours there are two important ingredients that you need. The first is soy sauce, which I expect most people have in their cupboards nowadays. The second is oyster sauce. Now oyster sauce is a bit like tomato ketchup, but more umami. You should be able to pick up a bottle in most supermarkets, and in fact I was able to pick up these two bottles in my Sainsbury's local.
The ingredients you'll need for 2 people are a chicken breast, a pepper, a medium-sized onion, a can of pineapples in juice, 2 or 3 tablespoons of oyster sauce, 2 or 3 tablespoons of white wine vinegar, a crushed clove of garlic, a few teaspoons of sugar, a few teaspoons of corn flour or cornstarch, a splash of soy sauce, some pepper. You also need some cooking oil and some salt. The first thing I do is prepare the chicken for marinating, because you want to marinate the chicken for as long as possible. It is important to slice the chicken as thinly and uniformly as possible so that it cooks rapidly and evenly. To marinate the chicken, add a pinch of salt and pepper, a teaspoon of sugar, a dash or 2 of soy sauce, 1 or 2 teaspoons of cooking oil or sesame seed oil, a little crushed garlic, 2 teaspoons of the white wine vinegar, a teaspoon of cornstarch, and, if you want, a tiny bit of baking powder or bicarbonate of soda. This helps to tenderize the chicken. Mix all the ingredients well and let the chicken marinate for as long as possible, but at least 20 minutes. To make the sweet and sour sauce, combine a heaped teaspoon of corn flour with the pineapple juice from the tinned pineapples. Add in a good 2 tablespoons of the oyster sauce. Add a teaspoon of sugar and 2 or 3 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. Next, evenly chop your onions into small squares and deseed and chop the pepper into small even squares as well. And that's the prep done. The vital thing about stir fry is that you need an exceedingly hot pan. To achieve the high temperature needed, preheat your pan on a very high heat for a minute or so before adding in any oil. Add 2 or 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil to the preheated pan and let the oil become smoking hot before putting in the chicken. Keep the hob on a high heat. Don't overwork the meat. Let it cook on one side first before flipping it over. The meat will be ready in just 1 or 2 minutes. Now I'm showing this part of the video without any cuts or edits, just to show how quick it is. It has taken me just over a minute to cook the chicken. The actual cooking is so fast that I usually leave it last, after I've prepared my accompanying rice or side dish. The most important thing is not to let the chicken cook right through. Stop frying when the chicken is almost done and still translucent. The residual heat is such that the meat will continue cooking after it is removed from the hob. In the same pan, add a little more oil and fry the onions and garlic for a minute or so. I've turned down the heat just a little bit so that the onions don't burn, but the heat is still high. When the onion is slightly translucent, add in the peppers and fry for a minute or two more. Now after a minute or so, you might think that the peppers are not soft enough and you should add more oil. Resist that temptation. Do not add any more oil. Instead, add a little liquid to the pan to deglaze it. The steam will help to cook the vegetables. You could use a white wine, or a Chinese cooking wine, or just plain water. Next, add in the pineapple chunks and fry for a minute longer. Then, give the sweet and sour sauce a quick stir and add it in. Turn the heat back up to very high so that the sauce boils rapidly. The sauce will become thick quite quickly because of the cornstarch. Let the sauce bubble for a few seconds and then slip the chicken back in. Then turn off the heat. And that's it. Serve immediately with plain boiled white rice.